Morning, everyone. I'd like to call a meeting to order. First and foremost, we'll call the Livingston County Industrial Development Agency meeting to order. And the first item is approval of the minutes from March 28th.
Or emailed out to you. I haven't made any changes since I sent the email.
There's no corrections or additions. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Oh,
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, we had some interesting developments. You may all remember Erica, who presented our audit on March 23rd. 28th. She has left the agency. It sounds like solar discussions, doesn't it? She's gone, so I got somebody new. Randy Shepard's kind of overseeing things. We do have some adjustments that we're doing for the LCDC still, so we're working through some of those with prior year and current year. But we do have a pretty close IDA financial that's in front of you. I do have a couple of additions and some descriptions of what's going on. So let's take a look at the IDA one. Got some interest income off of the deposits that we have and some rental income that's from the Dansville property. If you look way down at the bottom under other income, you're going to see miscellaneous 2999. It's in the amount of $20,894, I think. Two companies, Jaycox, which is a solar company here in Geneseo, and Dimension Energy. I'm not sure which Dimension. Oh, they're in Avon. Avon CSG 1 and 2. I think the third might be an Avon as well. They paid us for their pilot bills, not the county treasurer. So when we got them, they came in via ACH into our account. So we cut a check to the treasurer's office to move it all through. So that other income is actually a pass-through. We're trying to get that straight. We don't collect pilot bills at this point. We have talked about it in the past.
You're gonna get one for ours too.
Okay. Well, we do pilot billing, but we ask them to remit to the local jurisdictions. So if we get them, we'll turn them over.
that's what I thought our contract was, just for to let you know.
Okay.
Something we should look at that.
It's not a problem to do. It's just going to show on the financials because it's money that comes into the account and it's money that goes out of the account. So I got to reflect it that way. So that's going to show under payments to treasurer as an operating expense, 3453. It doesn't exactly foot. There are some special district taxes in there that we do have to pay as an IDA obligation as well. So there's a few things that are, hi Andrew, that are coming through that will get cleaned up as soon as we can get it all there. The uncategorized expenses, our website is in there, our annual hosting fee, as well as some training that we've got with IEDC for, I'm not sure whether it's Bill or Maureen's training that came through for that. Both, probably, yeah. So the miscellaneous expense is also Jaycox. That's a pass through for them. So you're showing a minus 66,000 for the 3 months, first quarter of the year. I do want to tell you that there were two transactions, one on April 4th, obviously not on this statement, and one on April 15th. The gain on the sale of the land for Fox and West at the James Steel Park was closed on April 4th. That was $21,751. And we closed on 66 River Road, also a project fee for $52,125. So we're actually positive as of the first 2 weeks of April, but that'll be reflected on April's statement. I just want to make that distinction. Other than that, that's the financial. Sorry that it's a little confusing. We're getting it straightened out. As the partner at Bonneville, I don't think Randy's going to use a lot of time, so we gotta wait till he assigns us somebody else so we can make sure that we know all of our entries. Randy Shepard, remember Randy? Oh, he's still there.
Okay,
Erica Proctor, the lead on our audit, unfortunately went to another firm. Yeah.
Oh.
So we lost our main point.
So this is gonna come up again, you say, Dave, because some of the money from Morris
Yeah.
Ridge would pass through
I think
IDA.
that's the way we set that up.
Typically not. We don't accept pilot billings at this point. Now, if it is set up that way, we're equipped to handle it. It's just going to show on our P&L, which we don't. Of the 35 active projects we've got, they all go to the jurisdictions that bill them. So if it doesn't, okay, but we'd like to clarify that so that we can get it going directly to the town. Which just means we work with the billing. Yeah.
Ours will come forward directly.
We send them estimates, then we prepare the bills, they go out and they say, send it back to.
The small ones do, but the commercial, you are involved.
EDF?
EDF.
So EDF's town pilot will come to us.
I think so. I think that was the way.
It can. We'll probably, if it does come to us, we'll try and work with them to get it to go to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's okay. We can handle it.
Any other questions on the, financials?
It'll start to make us look like we're $20 million agency. We took it all the finance bills. So, we try and keep those out of our financials.
Okay, take a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business.
A couple of things that I've got to add on here. This one came in yesterday. Andrew Kleiss Equipment, I think we're there with closing, right?
Box are here.
Perfect. So they, the buyer's attorney wanted to make sure that I have the authorization to be able to sign on the documents and convey title over to them. Do I have that right?
Correct.
So we've got a resolution of this board that says essentially that I'm the guy that's signing it and I do have the authority.
Correct.
There'll be a resolution here, so I just need you to authorize that I can sign on this to transfer the title over to Kleiss as we said.
So that was, we had no business, so this is new business.
This is new business, yes. Yeah, came in yesterday for us.
I'll move that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. We've never had anybody ask, and I did find an obscure place in our policy where it says
I saw that.
the assigning officer or something. They called me a weird title.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because it didn't, they wanted something transaction specific because I looked at the minutes and it just said approved to enter into the contract or sell the property.
Yeah.
So they just wanted something basically that said you are the appropriate party who is able to sign these documents and proceed.
Yeah, that we didn't have somebody that was just signing on the dotted line. Okay. Thank you for that. Mowing contract. So we are at the prison facility. It's that time of year again. We gave a guy an opportunity from West Sparta to understand all the fun that Dave's crew has had over that past year. He thought that maybe he could get in and out of there in 20 hours and zip, and he'd be all set and done. Well, he found out that it took him about twice that, but he still wanted to throw in a bid. We received two bids, Dave and Simple Life Landscaping. Jason Brown is his name. I don't know if you know him. So Jason put in a bid, Dave put in a bid. We probably can't approve this because we'd have to have Dave abstain and we don't have a quorum. So we might not be able to take action on this, but I'm recommending that we go with Dave's bid. It was considerably lower than Simple Life Landscaping. And the other part of this is Dave kind of wants to get creative with us. We have a mower that has sat while we use his equipment. He'd love to acquire this mower via barter and be able to use that at the facility and be able to use it for his own. So as part of this, we'd be out of pocket for roughly $15,000, and then he would assume the ownership of the mower that we have, which is roughly $15,000. So we'd be in it for $30,000. And I'm recommending that we move ahead with Lakeview Construction.
How long do you move down?
We're looking at every 2 weeks, which is every 2 weeks, which is a 12-week season. Don't ask it to be in country club shape. Roughly 4 inches, I think, is probably a good number, 3.5, 4, somewhere in there. If we do 12 weeks, that takes us from Monday, 5th, to October 6th. So I figure that covers the season. As per the same agreement we had last year, it slows down if it doesn't need it. These guys have been pretty generous about skipping. So
We added to it this time of year. You're doing it more than,
yeah,
just to
it
stay
really
out,
works.
Plus a lot of the handwork. Tremendous money.
The agreement, the catch on the agreement would be that if the property does transition, of course, I would be more than willing to offer the services, but if we don't own it any longer, our contract funds. So if we were able to transfer this facility at the end of May, we might be getting a check from somebody else.
You're running. Is that on?
Yes. You're right.
Yeah.
So that's the recommendation that I'm making.
And we'll table that to the next meeting.
We'll have to table it to the next meeting. I'm sorry, there is one more caveat. On Gary's, and I don't know if we've talked about this, on Gary's recommendation, we went back to Kingston, who has the contract on the farm parcel in the very, very back. We offered that they might be able to farm the east side of Keshequa Creek, which is the westernmost border of the property. There's about 7 acres, 7 acres right there, that if they wanted to till and farm, I'd be willing to throw that in. It would cut off outside the fence some mowing. So Kingston's, they were interested, but they hadn't looked at it. They have not been out. I didn't see any, they haven't tilled out there yet. So, but we'll talk to Jesse and see if it is something he's interested in. It's still included, but if they farm it, it's excluded. I don't think there's really necessarily any accommodation that we need to make on the contract. I think we're still at a pretty good. All I got on that.
Any other director comments?
Yeah, a bunch. So things are going fast and furious at Gateway with Armstrong Milling, who, I've got a call today with them at 11 o'clock. We're getting on these bi-weekly calls now. It's kind of getting to that status where we need to continue to check in. I'd like to do some preliminary engineering out at Gateway, which would involve archaeological, wetland delineation, soil borings, and some design work. I would like to ask for kind of a small fund of about 50,000 to do some preliminary work out there to get it ready for Gateway so that it shortens the time. Get Gateway ready for Armstrong, so it shortens the window that we need to get them in there and get them operating and constructing. Right now, where it stands, they're talking about acquiring 20 acres. They need 10. The 10 they would use for what I'm going to call phase 1 of the project, which is the oat milling aspect of this. Interestingly, the second 10 acres that we're talking about, I think could be a future expansion for the bird seed component, which is really where this company started making their money in Canada. The oat thing was an expansion. So I think that's closer than we believe. They're getting their ducks in a row so that they can align for both. The good news is, I don't know how I signed on for this lucky star, but we had our call with National Grid. It went well. The power is out there. Grid is going to do some upgrades on Bronson and or South Lima, somewhere that would feed this property. The upgrades aren't necessary for phase 1. So we can service phase 1, which is an answer I think I have yet to hear in 10 years of trying to do what we do. So we're good to go. With power there, it really kind of clears that last huge hurdle that has always stood in the way of development. Things are looking good.
Probably they don't need a lot of gas.
They actually don't need any.
Everything's dry that's coming in there.
They don't need any, which is a good thing, because right now the solution for that would probably be propane. They may use it but they may use it for some basic space heat, which they don't have to be 80 degrees. They can, operate at 50. We've talked geothermal with them, just planted that seed. The thing that's holding up right now, or at least the delay, is that they've hired an appraiser because they have no idea what US prices are for land, and they want to make sure that, that the offers that are on the table are conducive. So they hired Bruckner Tillett, which is an appraiser that I would recommend, and commercial appraiser. We used to use quite a bit. So as soon as they have, some validation on their numbers, I think things will be in shape. All moving ahead.
So where will this come out of? What line?
We've got it in reserves. It'll actually be, just engineering for the most part. We'll do it all with CPL and kind of coordinate it through them. But it'll get things ready.
Not to exceed.
And not to exceed. I am applying for a Fast New York grant. You have to put in a preliminary letter of intent, and then they invite you to apply. I was invited to apply, so I hope to wrap that up next week with all these numbers. So there's a possibility that I can get a chunk of it paid for, which is what I'm trying to do. I'd like to be able to keep things moving so that we're not waiting on New York State to say, okay, you're good to go. That might come in a month, it might come in 6. We agree.
Any other questions on that? I'm fine with it. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thanks. Let me keep going. So activity at the Livingston Correctional, I may have a site visit on a Wednesday call. It was, we'd like to be out there in 10 days. So it says next week to me. There's a possibility that I'll be over there. Bill and I are going to take a look at it this afternoon and just kind of make sure that it's in order and probably plan a tour route to show the best side. But anyway, I'll give you more on that. As far as an update is concerned on any of our current prospects that we've talked about, no real update other than this site visit. I'll let you know more after that, but there's really nothing more to tell other than there's some interest. Okay. Gateway, just talked about. Fast New York, also talked about that with Gateway. Armstrong, got in with that. But one thing sorry, my notes here, I didn't add to the Armstrong conversation, is we are working with WASA and Jason Molino about water going up Bronson Hill and the timing on that so that we can cut in to Gateway on Bronson Hill. So we're having those conversations with them. This is something that's been on radar for a little while, but hopefully with this larger project that's happening, this will actually kind of advance through those ranks. So nonetheless, that's the water.
Where's the water come from? It's
It's,
going down 15 the other way, right?
well, it goes both ways. You just gotta connect the dot.
It's on Stone right now. So Bronson will bring it up and then they want to come up South Line and move it from 15.
So where is it on Poplar Hill Road? Does it go out there
I
too?
don't know if it goes that far. It must come from the other direction if it is.
It'd be up top coming out of Livonia.
That's just it would be such a necessity for the residents that
Oh, yeah.
there's just this little, not even 2 miles, the beautiful houses, you know, we built a bunch of them, no water.
Yeah, the residents want it, which is secondary to what I want, which is it for Gateway, but it's in demand.
Yeah, and it would help out with the cost of the project.
Exactly.
Well, I think maybe the insurance company might require them to have a
Eventually.
sprinkler.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Yep, and we are working through those timeframes because there is going to either need to be a sprinkler or enough of a reserve flow that will come out of the line.
Fire line.
Those calculations are being done as we speak.
Anything on the project, Caledonia, Alex?
No, I don't have anything on that. We were contacted by a company that was looking at 352 Center Street, which is the old specialized printed forms. Been through it a couple of times. It's currently owned by Allen Bailey Tag and Label. There are spots of it that are real rough. There are spots of it that are 10 years old, brand new storage facility out back, look great. The property itself needs a bit of a facelift. Allen Bailey has told us that this property is clean, which with a printing company is always a question. That's a good sign, although I've offered our EPA funds to go in and do another check if this prospective buyer wants to get into it. Haven't had any new contact with them. It wasn't an international or even a national. It was sort of a regional company that was coming in, pallet construction. What he was looking to do with it and storage. So I'll get you more as soon as I have it. It would be a good use for that facility. And I like it, but haven't gotten an update from the guy.
We toured it 4 or 5 years ago.
Were you with me?
Yeah. We had a public hearing down there. Because that back building's really good.
The back building's really nice.
And then we were building.
The old building is, here's your ceilings and pipes. It's pretty low hanging, but you can move through there, tow motors, it's a good concrete base.
Loading docks.
Rail,
Yeah.
there's rail there. So more to come. That one's really kind of still sort of in the fledgling state, but I gave them the information that I had. Let's see what we can do.
Anything more on the strawberries and Danville?
No, nothing more on that. I don't think we've got capacity for that from the gas perspective. That was kind of the last hang up that we hit with them was that they need heavy gas. New York Power Authority, NYPA is the acronym. NYPA is an agency that I would get involved in if we had a large power user. They can offer discount rates to power users as part of an incentive package. We got some word through the state that NIPA, which is a public authority like the IDA, has been buying up local solar developments. The one that they've got earmarked here is Horseshoe up in Caledonia. I think what they'd like to do is buy it up, produce the power, and then be able to use it as an incentive for other companies. Power being a commodity, they could incentivize, say, a Micron in Syracuse with the power that they generate here, and be able to offset all of that. The concern is that NIPA being a public authority could potentially jeopardize pilots, host community agreements, things like that, that might already be in place. I got some reassurances from our agents, our trade organization, New York State Economic Development Corporation, that NIPA will honor pilots that are in place and host community agreements. Not to mention that they are interested in new developments to also enter into pilots and host community agreements. They want to play well, they want to be a nice partner. I could see them kind of bringing it down a little bit and not being, open to some things, but,
It was talked about when this all started happening. And if eventually somebody else would kind of hover over and take that away, or potentially take that away.
there's some thoughts I've got on this. I don't know whether we start to look to shifting more, and I guess it's gonna be a legal question eventually if it ever has to go to the courts, but do we shift more into a host community agreement instead of the pilots and fight that contract with NIPA? Can we hold them accountable to pilots and property taxes? So there's a lot more to come. This is just out. It's probably less than 30 days old. I intend to find out a lot more at the end of May when I go to the conference.
I wonder if it would connect somewhat like especially in Wyoming County and Steuben, the wind. Good, because a lot of them have been sold 4 and 5 times and taken over by the power companies.
Yeah, because now solar is classified as a utility. So that changes the whole landscape.
That was another lawsuit that just came through and was resolved that, I forget what county that was in, Montgomery maybe?
Yeah.
Where basically they fought and said, we can be classified and treated as a utility instead of a private developer, which also changes the landscape. So
Texas.
from a county perspective, these 5 megawatt things that are dotted around really are small fish. I don't see NIPA getting into some of that. So I think from that perspective, those are probably off radar. It's the large ones,
It's the large
170, 180, 170.
They're gonna compete against EDF.
Yeah.
And try to get their own projects.
I sent a note yesterday to Mark Geis, who's Cattaraugus County. He's got a ton of these down around there. Mark Massey, who's got the large one going over in the Cider Creek is Alabama, town of Alabama. Byron. Who else did I include? 3 or 4. Oh, Patrick Kelly up in the North Country, St. Lawrence County. Colleagues that just said, what are you guys thinking on this? And can we talk about it some more? And they're all saying, yeah, let's get together and try and figure out what the landscape looks like. Just to make you aware and that we're watching. Just mentioned New York State EDC. I will be at that conference May 21 to 23. That's in Cooperstown, our annual. Lavella, I've talked to, we're hoping that we might be able to convey a small parcel in the old Mount Morris Industrial Park to the neighbor, Chris Young. We have monitoring wells that are on that property from the environmental contamination. And he talked to DEC, both Chris and I had DEC up on the screen in the office. They want to know what the current status of those monitoring wells are. They haven't been touched. The locks are gonna rust off of there. before the last time.
You ain't gonna get those caps.
So I sent Lavella, unfortunately, Day Engineering did the initial for us, but we worked with Lavella on a bunch of things. So I have Lavella going out to take a look at those wells and see what the current condition is and whether there's been any remediation there or not. Just by time, I'm assuming that some of that groundwater has moved and shifted and hoping that be too much to ask to have it show clean, but it's.
Well, he's really not gonna move anything.
He wants to top it.
Plus some trees and then he's a slab for a shop. I mean, he's not, he'd be fine. Did you meet with the mayor on the road or?
Who met with Kelly Bacon? Trustee?
I met with Kelly.
Did you talk about the road at all with her?
No.
Okay,
I mentioned it before you.
okay. I've mentioned it here, I think, about Connor.
Where it's not the right location.
They don't have access across Connor or across our property onto Connor. So I'm trying to get them to
It should
take
go
that.
all in one deal.
They accordingly.
Convey it, exactly. So unfortunately, it shows our property line kind of cuts off Connor on both sides, the Greenway side and the inside. So technically, nobody could access that or they're accessing it across our property. So I want the village to take that.
They'd have to come into the DPW from Erie Street.
Yeah, right. So we gotta clean that up with the new mayor. And then this property is the other thing that's on the radar. So that would clean up Mount Morris for us. I also have Labella looking at the prison. They did a phase 1 for us a year ago. There were tanks removed where the gas tank is by the generator building, but there's no record of the removal. State, do as I say, not as I do. So I'm sure what they're gonna find is there's no tank there because OGS, the lady there, Vicki Tilges can tell me I watched them take that tank, but
But actually, was that a buried tank?
they said it was, yes, at one point, but I don't think it was buried for long because
Yeah, because the other ones weren't. They sat on that concrete slab, but there was no containment on that concrete slab.
right. Yep. Yeah, it's a raised tank. Yep.
The county still have that brownfields
Yes,
project moving forward?
yes.
Any of that be part of it?
Well, wait, Brownfield project.
Well.
They got Brownfield money to review it.
To do the initial assessments, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got phase 2 approved for this.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm tapping that money for this.
I haven't seen anything pop up yet. Have they started any of that yet?
Yeah, we're just getting approvals. So 5 Chestnut was one approval. I think that's he started over there. I'm seeing some equipment.
Yes.
5 Chestnut here in Geneseo was on that list. The location kind of escapes me, but it's over next to the T&G. There was a gas station there somewhere.
Oh, in the
Just,
corner.
well, yeah.
Not across, but next to it.
Next to, yeah.
Yeah, right in the corner.
That one got approved. St. Mary's School in Dansville got approved. We got approved, and I think there's a couple more that are still in the queue. Oh, Caledonia might be one that got approved. I gotta look at that for Sam DiLiberto's places right on Main Street.
So the one that got approved here was the Laundromat.
Yes, the old one there, 5 Chestnut. Yep.
Planning still handle all of it.
You know, Eddie, I think. So yes, you have REPA. That's Lavella. Dansville Solar Project. This is an interesting one. It was referred back to the county planning board. As you recall, this went through litigation and they overturned what the Dansville ZBA did. So this is moved on to the Dansville Planning Board, which had to refer it back to County Planning Board. County Planning Board, which recommended disapproval the first time, recommended disapproval the second time. Which baffles me a bit because the courts have already weighed in saying that. But Heather, I talked to her for a while. They wanted to be consistent in their rationale. Consistently wrong. I didn't get an answer to that, but anyway, they recommended disapproval. It can still be overturned at the local level. The key is just making sure that the local level understands why they disapproved it. Which was basically a prime soil impact, a countywide prime soil impact. It doesn't take into account the fact that, yes, this is prime soil, but it's in an industrial park. So it's a bit of a strange situation. But anyway, it's still moving through. It's at the planning board right now. The answer is
Is that coming in front of them shortly or?
county?
No, Dansville.
Yes.
They got it on their docket or?
Yes, yes. Planning board is the 4th Wednesday of the month. So this was April County Planning Board, so I would imagine we'll be look at it.
Hey. You know, we've got to do something with that shortly because,
I asked Delaware River when they were looking at a beginning date. Because Corey was asking whether he could go plan, and they said, let him plan. So Corey's gonna plan again this year. We should have another year of planning.
so should we surplus that, 10 or 12 acres and put it for sale? The back part.
I'll do that immediately after the local planning board approves it. Probably scared of the jinx, I don't know. Yeah, we'll, yes. Maybe my next meeting, I could have an action for you on that. That's all I can come up with unless you got some other questions.
Any more questions? Motion to adjourn, next meeting, June 6th, 2025. We got that motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, now we'll go over the